can you believe that the Koreans are here to say that sedans aren't going away? Hyundai Motor and Kia have just posted their sales results for the month of May 2025. And both companies are doing well, but especially their sedans. We're going to go over what's going on with Kia and Hyundai for their sales. I mean, if you missed yesterday and the day before, we talked about Subaru, Mazda, both of them in the, I wouldn't say in the dumps right now, but Mazda was a big surprise. They went up 20% one month and they were down 20% the next month. All right. And Honda's holding on. All right. They're doing well. They're relying on some unconventional means essentially to keep their sales above water. And before we get into the Koreans' sales results, I wanted to just touch on these things from Nissan real quick. The Versa manual is now dead, unfortunately. It was one of the last 5 speeds on the market, and it is extraordinarily affordable. Well, that's the problem. It wasn't affordable enough, all right? And since it doesn't get that great a fuel economy, the 5-speed manual, 30 miles per gallon compared to the 35 on the CVT model, Nissan just killed it off. And now we have, I mean, this happened to the Mitsubishi Mirage a few years ago. I mean, it's happened to every sedan essentially over the last 10 to 15 years. Kill the manuals and you're just stuck with boring old CVTs that are for the masses. I get it. Yeah, cars keep getting more expensive. What was the most affordable car on the market is now gone. But the Versa CVT still exists. And it's like, I would just buy a used car. And unless you get a crazy good lease deal on one. That's the only way I'd be buying a Versa. It's not a bad car. I reviewed one last year. What the heck is this? There's a patent image coming out of China for Nissan. This is likely the new Sylphy, which we call the new Sentra. And the new Sentra will be revealed by the end of this year. I want to show you this real quick and compare the two images. Nissan did show us the new Sentra. And this is it right here. All right. Are there similarities? Are there differences? Well, absolutely. But I would say the hood design and the bumper design, if you just look at this line right here and compare to this line, they're identical. So why do we have different headlights? Why do we have different... Well, I mean, this has a spoiler on the back. Well, this is probably an SR model, by the way. The Chinese vehicles, they can oftentimes have their own lighting. The Accord, the Integras over there, the Camrys, like they all have their own styling compared to the ones we get stateside. All right, so this is just another example of that. So, I mean, both of them don't share a lot of details. This is a design we're getting here in the United States. All right, this one probably for China. I think light bar is a little played out right now, so I'm happy with what we see down below, to be honest. But guys, I will reveal it for you on the channel this year. We also have coming a facelifted Pathfinder, an Xterra EV thing coming. We have the plug-in hybrid Outlander. That's a joke. It's the Nissan Rogue plug-in hybrid coming this year. And then here's the redesigned e-Power Nissan Rogue coming out next year. And then here's the Leaf, which I'll give you guys hands-on. On June 17th is when embargo ends. So 10 days from this recording. All right. And so, yeah, sedans, I just felt like sharing that real quick. But let's get into the sales of Hyundai. They're up 8%. What was Honda? Honda was up almost 8%. They're up 8% year to date, but they're up 7% in May. Hyundai has just hit 17 million vehicles sold in the United States. IONIQ 9 just went on sale. And you have Venue, Elantra N, Santa Fe, Tucson, IONIQ 6, and Palisade hit May sales records. Hyundai's breaking sales records, all right? IONIQ 6, how did that just hit a May sales record? That's a sedan. That shouldn't happen. The Elantra N's a sedan. That shouldn't happen. So this is what's crazy, guys. Yes, the Elantra N hit a sales record, but look at what the Elantra is doing. Look at the growth of this vehicle. Up 18% for the month of May and up about 25% for the year so far. You're going to see with Kia as well, very strong sedan results. IONIQ 5. Kind of a sedan. It's, you know, it's a 5-door. It's kind of an in-betweener sort of vehicle, but it's down 12% on the month. I'm not sure why. I think Hyundai might be limiting production on the IONIQ 5 due to a lack of demand. It's still one of the best electric vehicles on the market. It's up 6% on the year, though. IONIQ 6, though, look at this. Okay, the IONIQ 5 is diminishing, and the IONIQ 6 is growing. IONIQ 6 up 9% on the month, but it was down 6% so far in the year. Are we going to see the IONIQ 6 continue to grow? I'll update you guys month over month on this. IONIQ 9 is now available on the market. I want to show you this. In my area, there are actually quite a few, 71 in my area. I want to look at the trim levels. What are we seeing here? All right, the top of the line performance calligraphy, there are 10 of them. Performance limited, there are 8 of those, so 18 of them are the 400 horsepower models. All right, very few rear-wheel drive S models, which is very underpowered. I haven't driven it yet, and I will drive it soon for you guys, but the S rear-wheel drive, it's only like 200 horsepower for this behemoth. Now, it gets like 330 miles of range, which is incredible, and it does have NACS charging, so you could plug this into supercharging networks. That's all fine and dandy, but if I'm taking this on a long road trip, I want something with more power. Luckily, you can still get over 300 miles of range, even on these big all-wheel drive trims. All right, so I think the sweet spot is going to be the SEL all-wheel drive, 300 horsepower right here, already discounted. And then there are huge incentives on this vehicle as well that aren't really showing on cars.com where we're seeing. All right, I think what's happening with the Kona here being down on the year, almost 20%. I mean, it's a refresh. It just got actually redesigned like a year and a half ago. So why is it down? What's happening to the Kona? I can only guess. I have no idea. My guess is that it's priced high enough for people to just go ahead and get into a Tucson or a Santa Fe. All right. And this segment that was growing really quick, the subcompact crossover segment, it seems like it's losing its fire, while the sedan market for the Elantra and the Sonata, we'll look at the Sonata here shortly. Sonata's not doing that great, to be honest, but the sedan market, I think, is maybe taking sales from the subcompact crossovers. There's just far more roomy inside on average. Not the cargo capacity, but the seating capacity a lot of times compared to a subcompact crossover. All right. And they're more fun to drive, and they get better fuel economy. All right. So Kona, again, don't know what's happening there. Nexo, well, they're redesigning it. All right. And it's fuel cell. Who cares? Palisade. And I will be driving the brand new redesigned Palisade at the end of next month. So make sure you are subscribed, because I cannot wait to share the Palisade. I think it might be the V6 only, which I'm perfectly okay with. I will review the hybrid Palisade at another time, I'm pretty sure. All right. So 10% up the Palisade. These big 3 rows for Hyundai and Kia just print money for them. Santa Cruz, the pickup truck with no hybrid still, it's a no buy. And it's down 16% on the month, down 20% on the year. Santa Fe is up 0%, 33 more units. They sold 33 more units than last May, and it was a sales record for the Santa Fe. All right, so the Santa Fe hybrid especially is a fantastic vehicle. It's spacious, it's roomy, it's comfortable, it's aesthetically pleasing on the inside and the outside, except for the rear end. The rear end just needs to be refreshed so fast, but the rest of it's pretty cool looking. Sonata, all right, this is the only thing. It's up 11% on the year. So the sedan is growing as a whole, but something happened last month to the Sonata where it was down 9%. Tucson, we are about a year away, I would say, from a redesigned Tucson. It's up 15% on the month, up 23% on the year. It is absolutely crushing it. And the Venue, finally, and maybe this is why the Kona's down, okay? The Venue, a small subcompact crossover. Hyundai has 2 of them, and I don't understand why, but the Venue is up 75% on the month and up 20% on the year. Maybe the Venue is a better vehicle for the current market where we need lower transaction prices. The Venue is very efficient. It's very small. But so is the Kona. All right, so the Venue may be a hair smaller than the Kona, but it's a lot cheaper. The Kona, there are 590 in my area, so there are a lot. The lowest price of a Kona, well, the MSRPs are like $28K. That's pretty expensive. And look at like there's no hybrid on it either. So I'd rather just go for like a Corolla Cross hybrid or the upcoming Crosstrek hybrid. But still 25K. You know, we're seeing big price drops on the Kona because it's just too expensive. If we go to the Venue, you know, here we are, 20K. That's what I was looking for. It's about $20,000. So you're able to get into a Venue for $4 to $5 grand less. And I think that's the market speaking and Hyundai knowing that. So we're seeing bigger sales for the lower priced model. That makes sense to me. And when we look at total availability, there's more Konas available than the Venue. But if we look at the sales again, where's the Kona's sales? 7,700 units. Venue only 4,300 units. But look at this growth. I wouldn't be surprised if the Venue eventually comes close to the Kona in the current market where people need more affordable vehicles. And that's where the Elantra comes in, guys. The Elantra is very, very affordable. Look at this. Again, low 20s. Now, the Venue is even cheaper than this, and we're seeing the sales results. But look, the Elantra, you're getting a really good vehicle, really fuel-efficient vehicle, fun to drive vehicle compared to the Kona. And I would take this over a Kona, honestly. Especially the hybrid Elantra. Let's see what those are coming in. Okay, so looking at the Elantra hybrids, you can get them for about 25K. That's where this vehicle needs to be, if not cheaper. It's insanely efficient. It's still the most efficient vehicle I've ever tested on the channel. I got 65 miles per gallon, pump verified, and 23 is even better. Like, this is a really, really, really good buy here for the low 20s. It's more fun to drive than a Corolla hybrid. It doesn't have all-wheel drive as an option. It's more efficient than a Corolla hybrid. It maybe looks better than a Corolla hybrid. I think you guys might argue that, but it might. If you're looking at the limited version of this, which are very few, right? You see blue here as the most common. The limited, guys, is too close in price to a Prius, which is a way better car top to bottom than this. And so is the Civic hybrid around this price, Civic hybrid sedan or hatchback. Those are better vehicles for the price. So I would say this really is a direct competitor, not to the Prius or the Civic, but to that Corolla hybrid. And for the low 20s, it's better than the Corolla hybrid. But you might be saying, Kirk, is it as reliable? And I have no idea. I see some really, really old Sonata hybrids still driving around down here. I think they're more reliable than a normal Elantra. Is reliable as a Corolla hybrid? Probably not. Like, what is? That vehicle is going to last forever, a Corolla hybrid. All right. So that's another tricky thing here. We need Hyundai to come out with their next generation hybrid system on this vehicle. I think they have new 1.6 liter engines coming out, and it'll be more efficient, more enjoyable, more powerful. I cannot wait. Watch my recent video on Hyundai's hybrids. Like, it's very exciting. All right, I think I've covered everything I wanted to on the Hyundai end. Let's switch over to Kia and wrap this up for you guys. Kia, 8th consecutive month of year-over-year sales growth. Well, Subaru, until last month, had 33 months of consecutive sales growths, and then they hit a buzzsaw, and their sales were down 10% last month, and their streak was broken. And here's Kia, still going strong here, 8 months up year over year. So they sold 79,000 units. Let's go back to Hyundai. What did Hyundai sell? 84,000. They're really close in terms of sales to each other. Every once in a while, Kia will clip parent company Hyundai. All right, best made performance of the Telluride, the Sportage, Carnival, minivans all day, and the K4. Who said sedans are dead? All right. So they don't give us percentages. So guess what? I made a spreadsheet. All right. I made the spreadsheet, and we're going to enjoy this spreadsheet to the max. EV9, I don't know what's going on with this vehicle. There's just no availability of it. Sales are bad. Maybe it has something to do with the Metaplant of them switching over this. I just don't know. I don't know what's going on. If you guys can enlighten me why the volume's down on the EV9, availability, you can't even find them. All right. Where the IONIQ 9, there are quite a few. They're like 70 in my area. So you can go buy an IONIQ 9, but the EV9, brother, it's like unobtainium right now. So that, despite this being essentially off the market, their sales are up 5%. EV6, well, this is weird because the IONIQ 6 saw some sales growth, but the EV6 is down 40% on the year and down 70% on the month. I don't know what's happening here. Either yes, the EV6 just got a refresh, but I don't understand it. All right. Maybe these cars are costing Hyundai and Kia too much money, or at least on the Kia end, and they're shutting down because they have to incentivize these things to the moon. And if they're able to meet the CAFE requirements without these EVs at high volumes, then they're going to reduce the volume on these EVs so they're not bleeding money on incentives. That's my theory, but I'm not quite sure. Kia K4. Here's the thing, guys. The Elantra was up. Here's the K4 up. Almost 9% up on the year, 6% up on the month. It sold almost 14,000 units. Where is that Hyundai Elantra? Elantra's at 15,700, and it sold 62,000 units this year. So 15.7 and 16.3. So it has beat the K4 this month, but the K4 has about 1,500 unit lead so far this year overall over the Elantra. I love it. Now, I think the K4 could absolutely benefit from getting that hatchback to the market. I think it's a gorgeous vehicle. And they need hybrids. The hybrids will come, but Kia's just waiting for that next generation Hyundai hybrid system to hit the market, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with because Kia has really good designs, and their designs typically are better than Hyundai's. So if you get Hyundai's hybrids and a better looking Kia car, it sounds like a winning formula to me. The K5 up 256% for the month of May and up 220%. Now, the K5 had a rough year last year, and that's why these numbers look so impressive. You know, if we look at 7,000 units for the K5 for the month of May, where was the Honda Accord? 14,000 units. So they're nowhere close to the Accord, and the Accord is in the dumps comparatively to what the Accord used to sell, but that's because of production issues at the Marysville plant as they restructure for EVs. If we get back to Kia here, the K5 is having a resurgence, and it's good to see. The K5 is back, and I don't know why. Maybe we should look at sales, or should I say availability of the Kia K5 here. There are 600 in my area, so availability is really good here. Let's look at lowest price. Oh my gosh. When you can get a K5, a base K5 here, LXS, in some cases as low as 22K. Oh, that's a leftover. All right. So this doesn't compute. Let's look. I got too excited there. All right. 2025 model. Still, if you can get a K5 for 24K, guys, 24K for a K5, that is a screaming deal. So Kia's got the price on these things down. And look, the wheels don't look terrible. You got some alloy wheels here. You got the cool daytime running lights. Like, that's a really, really, really good buy. And you can get them in red too. Typically, that's a premium color you're going to spend more for. Wow. Well done, Kia, to get these prices low. It's a good-looking sedan. It's fun to drive. There's lots of space in it. It's efficient enough. You can get them in all-wheel drive, if I remember right, the K5s. But yeah, this is where it's at, 25K. How does that compare to the K4? Okay, so we're seeing 24K for the K5. What is the K4 at? Oh, 20K? Holy cow, I would take that over the Elantra. Sorry, Elantra, unless you can get a hybrid at like under 25K. Even then, it's going to be hard to make up that fuel economy difference between the hybrid and the non-hybrid. All right, Abe's with us for the rest of this video. The Soul, just like the Venue, down 12. Well, should I say the Venue is up? I should say just like the Kona is down. But the Soul is not necessarily. The Soul is more like the Venue than it is the Kona. The Seltos is more like the Kona, and the Seltos is in the dumps too, minus 19% on the month, minus 23% on the year. Kia Niro, I don't understand why this vehicle is suffering so much. Its sales volume keeps going down. I think it's because they're eventually going to kill the Niro, because I don't know, is the Seltos just going to be hybridized eventually, and the Niro doesn't really make sense anymore. I'm not quite sure. And I've heard so many reports that the Soul is going to be killed off as well. The Soul's not doing great either. All right. It's like the Kia sedans, the K4 and K5 are seeing the growth as he's pulling out my Volvo card. It's my Volvo Kia. I'm driving the EX30 this week. Stay tuned for the review. And let's see here. The Sportage, just like the Tucson, double digits growth. It is just a juggernaut. All right. This is the same segment as the RAV4, the CRV. This segment is hot, still growing massively. And it seems like the subcompact crossover market blew up real fast, and now it's going away almost as fast as it got here. It's really strange. All right, Sorento, Kia Sorento 3-row crossover. It's doing well, but the bigger 3-row crossover for Kia, the Telluride, which will begin a redesign next year, a year after the Palisade. It's crushing it just like the Palisade is crushing it, up double digits. It's just these things sell like candy. All right, Carnival, Kia Carnival. Other than, what was it, the K5, the Carnival is growing the most. Look at this. Minivans are having a resurgence as well. All right, if we go back to Honda, the Odyssey, the best minivan overall, in my opinion, in the segment. It's just not the best of fuel economy. And that's where the Kia and the Toyota hybrid vans will do better. But the Odyssey does everything else, well, almost everything else better from an enthusiast perspective. All right, it drives better, it's smoother, it's quieter, it handles just so good compared to its competition, especially the Kia. The Kia is not enjoyable to drive. It is enjoyable to get 36 miles per gallon on it. The Odyssey was up 14% for the month and 25% for the year. And what do we see with the Carnival? As I find my spreadsheet, 68% up. It's over 60% up for the year. That is crazy. And now that it has a hybrid that gets well over 30 miles per gallon, the desirability of this just went through the roof. So Kia's up 5% on the month. It's slowing down a little bit, but what is it slowing down for? Their EVs? All right, where are they? Who knows? Maybe I just don't understand. Their EVs and their small crossovers are suffering, while their sedans are blowing up. Their midsize and large size crossovers and their minivan are thriving. Very, very interesting to see where this is going to go. Are their EVs going to have a resurgence later this year? Are their small crossovers going to have a resurgence? Or is Kia just figuring out what the market wants right now? And that's midsize to large crossovers, minivans, and sedans. That makes sense to me. I love all those really more than the small. But I'll see you guys in the comments. Sedans, Kia and Hyundai are proving they're far from 1 foot in the grave. They're actually growing. They're thriving. They're making a comeback, just like minivans, right? Everything comes in cycles. Does it mean crossovers are going to go away? No, but we're seeing a big drop in the subcompact crossover market, at least from the Koreans. If you look at the HRV, it was down last month. It's up on the year, but is down last month because it's sharing production with the new Acura ADX. That's how I see it. So not really substantial evidence there. And Subaru subcompact crossover, the Crosstrek, is printing money for them. All right. What about Mazda? Well, the CX-30 is in the complete dumps. Look at this. All right. So certain brands, subcompact crossovers are slaying it, and certain ones are diminishing massively. It's a really strange segment right now. All right. I'll see you guys in the comments. I got to get going, review some cars. Have a great day and peace.